Hi and welcome back to another detailing session on GM details. In today's video I've got a filthy 2017 Ford Focus that's never seen a proper wash and only a quick drive-in scratch and shine. I'll be taking it from filthy to fabulous using some top-notch detailing chemicals. Stick around as I dive into the nitty-gritty of transforming this car back to its glory days. Let's get into it. So the first order of the day is wheels, tyres and wheel arches, or wells, whatever you want to call them, and I've been desperate to clean these wheels to try out my newest chemical products. More about them in a moment, so let's just take a few seconds to check out just what these chemicals are going to have to deal with. While not everyone enjoys cleaning their cars, I do, and wheels are particularly enjoyable to me. So I offered my neighbour a free car clean to make this video, as I never let mine get as bad as this, but a dirty car makes better content, so here we are at the beginning of the process. So why clean your wheels first? It's simply because they're often the dirtiest part of any vehicle. With heat from the brakes drying the brake dust on and being closest to the ground, they get dirty pretty quickly, so I need to use a strong chemical. It could be an acid or an alkaline chemical, and if you left it to last, you might get some overspray of chemical onto your freshly cleaned bodywork of the car, creating more work for you to remove it, when cleaning the wheels first just makes sense for time, chemical, water and energy management. So what am I using today? Last year I won a competition for an embroidered hoodie and cleaning chemicals from a company based in Northern Ireland called Achem, formerly Anachem Automotive, and I've been desperate for a really dirty car to test them out on. This is their wheel cleaner called Cleanse. It's a dilutable acid-free formula. Why do brands make such a big deal about being acid free? Is it a scare tactic or something? Acids can be useful in wheel cleaning just as much as an alkaline, which we'll test a little later on in the video. Anyway, so this is an alkaline formula packed with a sophisticated blend of alkaline based cleaners and degreasers, quoted from the website. It goes on to say that most situations it can be used as a simple spray on, pressure wash off product, so that's the first test here. So in just a little over 5 minutes the wheels have gone from this to this, with one single product being applied and rinsed off, no contact whatsoever. That's pretty impressive and would be an excellent product for a complete quick winter clean where you don't want to be out for hours in low temperatures cleaning your car. I'm aware of the irony here, as it's like 4 degrees C when I filmed this. On with the next stage, as I've still got the tyres to clean before another hit of Cleanse as a contact wash to see if those cleaning surfactants can get any more grime off these alloys. I'm using good old Auto Glands Rebound for the tyres purely to save time. I'm not wasting any Cleanse on tyres when I know Rebound will have them clean in a single scrub with a tyre brush. Cleanse would also be more than capable of cleaning the tyres as well as any alkaline wheel cleaner or all-purpose cleaner. On to round 2 of using Achem Cleanse wheel cleaner now to see what a contact wash with some brushes can do to improve the look of the wheel, and I'm going to start with my favourite wheel cleaning tool for spoked alloy wheels. It's the trusty Easy large wheel brush. As you can see from the brush action, I'm angling the cleaning motion from side to side, not just in and out. This helps clean behind the spokes and gets better coverage throughout the barrel of the wheel. Plus the foam is helping to prevent splashback of wheel cleaner from the bristles of the brush. The next brush I'm using is a Halford's wheel face brush. It's still got nylon fibres, but they're softer at the ends with tightly packed, stiffer bristles like the tyre brush that I was using, helping to give the brush some flexibility and great cleaning action for the sides of the spokes and also the face of the wheel. It also has a rubber edge to prevent any damage from the plastic brush head. Lastly, I'm using a new brush from AliExpress by a brand called alkaline. I'm hoping to put together a video of all that I've bought from the alkaline store on AliExpress soon, so if you're watching this video and haven't subscribed already, now's the time to do so. So let's take a look and see what the combination of brushes has achieved. I can still see some ingrained brake dust in the corners. To be honest, I was concentrating more on the spokes with the bristles of the brush than the edges. The spokes look really good from that contact clean, but there are still these black dots in the corners now that could be tar spots, and a wheel cleaner won't remove tar spots. I'm still not happy to leave them like this, so I'm going to give them one last quick coating of Cleanse Wheel Cleaner and give the Sponge Guru wheel spoke sponges a go. I'm actually very surprised at how much extra dirt these little sponge lollipops are pulling out. I'll focus on this little area I showed you earlier. A quick rinse again, and I've left a bit of a 50-50 on the bottom middle spoke. This is my second time using these sponges, and they've definitely cleaned more than the Halfords wheel brush did, especially in the tighter corners and spokes. And when they get dirty, a quick dunk in the rinse bucket and they're like brand new again. Starting to like having these in the wheel caddy for these type of areas. So to finish off the wheels, which have taken around about 15 minutes to get to this stage, remember just one alkaline wheel cleaner has been used in this process. I usually like to go back over the wheels with an iron follet remover to check for any embedded metal contamination, i.e. those rough black dots that we saw earlier. So I'm using AChem's follet remover called Purge. Now here's the dilemma. With those wheels, in the state that they were in, I'd like you to tell me in the comments if you'd have gone straight in with a follet remover to begin with, or would you do what I did and start with this sort of pre-wash approach to see how much ingrained dirt you could remove first? Personally, if I wasn't testing the sole cleaning capabilities of Cleanse, I'd have gone with the pre-wash using Cleanse, then the easy barrel brushes to get as much grime out of the barrels as possible, then use a wheel shampoo with microfiber wheel mitts before using Purge follet remover. And there you have the end result. The iron follet remover just tidies the whole wheel up, gets rid of those ingrained black dots in the corners of the spokes, and leaves a much fresher, brighter looking wheel to take some protection at the end of the detail. It might look a bit strange cleaning wheel arches after I've cleaned the wheel, as all that muck from within the arch is going to fall over the newly cleaned wheel. Don't panic though. If I'm doing it off camera, I usually scrub them out while the wheel pre-wash is dwelling. That way I can rinse the arches and wheels together. But as I was testing the cleaning ability of Cleanse, I didn't want to have any rinse water affecting the capabilities of the product. So if you're hearing about this for the first time, or you want to introduce it into your detailing routine, it's actually better done as you're cleaning your wheels. So depending on the level of mud and grit you'll have in the arches, you maybe saw me running my fingers inside the wheel arch earlier to check. If it's thick with mud, give it a rinse first, as a chemical will do very little with an inch thick build-up of debris. You can spray any all-purpose cleaner, citrus cleaner or a traffic film remover if you like, at a good strong dilution. Product dependent of course, but generally anything from 5:1 dilution would be the strongest that I'd use. Really just use some common sense when it comes to chemicals and read the label for guidance. Once you're happy you've removed the majority of dirt, you can go in with your chemical. I prefer a spray rather than a foam for this stage, but I like a chemical that foams up when agitated, and this traffic film remover from AChem does that pretty well. I'm using it at 30:1 dilution, which is their maximum strength recommendation. The brush I'm using is the third in a set from EZ. It's called the Go brush, which has soft nylon fibres, and I find it best to start and finish from the bottom of the arch, as you limit any possible scratching from the dirt you're bringing out the arch, and also getting a face full of it as the bristles fire back at you as you pull it out. It really does make such a difference to how the wheels look in a clean wheel arch, and you help keeping the rust away too, as all that mud that's pressed inside the wheel arch can sometimes stick to the metal of the wing, and that's when you start getting rusty wheel arches along the edges. It's not rusting from the outside in, it starts from the inside, and thankfully this Focus doesn't have any signs of the rust starting, so as long as the arches are cleaned regularly, it'll help keep rust away too. The rear wheels of the Focus aren't as bad as the front ones, with them having drum brakes, so there isn't the same brake dust contamination to deal with. More or less general road grime from the previous 6 months or so since they were last cleaned. So once more I'm spraying a liberal coating of Cleanse wheel cleaner as a pre-wash and let it soak into the dirt for around 5 minutes, as the temperature is low and it's not in direct sunlight. Well, this time I cleaned the tyres and the wheel with Cleanse, and I'm enjoying every second of the rinse. If only every wheel was as easy to clean as this, I'd be a happy man. I'm still going to finish it off with a spray of Purge Fallout Remover, work it into the corners of the spokes and the wheel nuts, and after a final rinse, I'm happy with these results. So coming up, I'm going to compare Cleanse Wheel Cleaner face to face with an acid cleaner as a direct comparison after the break. Welcome back. So in this alkaline versus acid test, I'm going to apply the same AChem Cleanse solution I've been using on the other wheels to the left side of the wheel, setting the dwell timer on the bottom left of your screen, and then on the right side of the wheel, an acid based cleaner from Autobead. I wanted to use KKD Devil's Juice, but they're not trading anymore sadly, so I've heard good things about Autobead, so I bought this 500ml acid wheel cleaner. Once that was sprayed, I've set the dwell timer in the bottom right hand side of your screen. Now the timer might suddenly change or speed up, depending whether there was some editing to remove mind-numbingly boring bits, but the end dwell time will be noted before the rinse off. Points to note, this is by no means a scientific test. Anyone who knows KKD Devil's Juice, it's noted for being rather potent, and diluting the product is essential rather than a recommendation. So without hesitation, I assumed this one might be of similar strength. I now know it's not, and I did dilute it down to 1 to 3, where the AChem side is not diluted. as recommended by the label for extremely dirty wheels. So obviously the test isn't really that fair. I'll explain more at the end of the video in the summary, so stay tuned to the end if you want to hear why I didn't dilute both. So 6 minutes 50 for A-Chem Cleanse and nearly 6.5 minutes for the Autobead Acid Cleaner. Total opposites on the pH table, and yet, without agitation, I would say that the A-Chem Cleanse has cleaned better as a touchless wash and is a non-caustic alkaline wheel cleaner. Now the caveat here is that it's undiluted versus the diluted acid, but let me know in the comments which one you would have in your basket if you had to clean these wheels. Would prices help? At the time of recording, the A-Chem is £25 for 5 litres and an equal 5 litres of Autobead is £30, and that's with a 20% discount though. It's an interesting subject I'll be covering in more detail in future videos, I think. With all 4 wheels successfully cleaned to a good standard, it's time to move on to the main body of the car. And in the IK sprayer, to save trigger fatigue, I've got A-Chem's TFR, or Traffic Film Remover. Now this car has no protection. It probably hasn't had any protection since it was given a spray wax from the dealers nearly 8 years ago, and I'm expecting the paint to be quite resistant to any cleaning chemicals, so I've opted for the stronger dilution of 30:1. In case you weren't concentrating, that's 30:1. That could beat any citrus-based pre-wash in dilution by 165 millilitres. If it works well enough, that would save you a fortune on chemical costs alone if you were a valeter to trade. So TFRs, or traffic film removers, usually have a much stronger power to clean grease, road film and grime quickly and effectively using caustic ingredients, which can harm some plastic trims. Even some metal trims can suffer. But the A-Chem one is non-caustic. So it'll be interesting to experiment with this product over winter and see if it's better using this than a citrus pre-wash, which I've usually opted for in the winter. So the product is going through a name change at the moment. It used to be called Articulate, but recently changed to Pre-Clean. Makes sense, doesn't it? And it's available in 2, 5 and 25 litre options. So now that the pre-clean traffic film remover has had time to soak into the dirt, I'm going to apply a wetting layer of SNOWFOAM on top. This is just to give the traffic film remover a little longer dwell time, and it will help prevent it from drying out on the surface. I'm using A-Chem's Ultra Foam, which is their pH neutral snow foam, applied using the MTM PF22.3 foam lands, diluted at 10:1. I've made up a litre of solution, so that's 90 millilitres of product to 910 millilitres of warm water. I've turned the dial at the top back half a turn just to allow a little bit more water to the mix for a wetter blanket of foam, as a dry fluffy foam would just fall off the car quicker, and I want to prolong the dwell of the traffic film remover. This lance works very well in layering a perfect consistency. It doesn't allow the edges of the foam spray to cut into the foam already on the car and cause it to fall off. It seems to feather the flow so that the whole fan pattern has equal pressure and it delivers its foam perfectly. Already you can see some of the dirt being lifted from the paint and carried off the car by the natural runoff. If it was too thick, dry and sticky, it wouldn't have that effect. It would either just stick like glue, or it would be too heavy and run off the car quickly, leaving the pre-cleaner underneath exposed to dry in the air. So far I've cleaned the wheels, the wheel arches, pre-washed the car with traffic film remover and a SNOWFOAM, which was really satisfying to rinse off actually. So the car is already starting to look much better already, so now I'm ready for the contact wash. AChem offers two shampoos in the range. I've got the cherry cola version here. Other than a scent, they're both exactly the same. A pH neutral pure shampoo, concentrated and with zero fillers like gloss enhancers or waxes. The 1.2 litre bottle has a brilliant self-dosing cap, which you saw at the beginning of the video. I'm not putting it in here as it ruins continuity because I made up the bucket while the SNOWFOAM was actually dwelling. So 30 millilitres of shampoo used in a 20 litre bucket is roughly around 650 to 1 dilution. So not the most concentrated of shampoos, but I feel the price reflects that. At the time of recording, this 1.2 litre bottle is just over £15, so I can live with using 30ml per bucket. If indeed 30ml is right, as there's no dilution instructions on the bottle, so you're pretty much left to try and see what amount suits you best. It's not always best to try out your new wash mitt with a new shampoo on a car you've never cleaned before and give an opinion on the product. It's really not fair, but I will definitely be using this shampoo more in coming videos throughout the year. I have noticed that the paint has a very gritty-like texture to it, like sandpaper, due to the ingrained dirt. This can happen quite easily if you leave your car dirty for long periods of time. You see, paint on your car is flexible. It has to be able to flex with the weather conditions and the movement of the vehicle. So when it's sunny, the paint thins out ever so slightly. Then when it gets colder, it contracts and locks in dirt into the paint, which if you catch it in time, you can remove it with a clay bar, which is my next step. And I thought I was nearly finished. But these things will come up from time to time when you're cleaning an unfamiliar car for the first time. Another place dirt can get trapped is in door shuts and boot lid recesses, even bonnet recesses. But these are places that are just ignored by roadside car cleaners, as they just don't have the time or the budget to get into the detail of car cleaning. So paying for a good car cleaner to visit your home is a great way to look after your car if you want it cleaned properly. But you wouldn't be watching this video if you weren't interested in doing it yourself, so I hope there's some useful tips in it for you. The next time you're at the supermarket, grab a bottle of elbow grease general purpose cleaner. It'll be about £1 for a 500ml bottle, and you can use that as a general all-purpose cleaner for door shuts, plastics, engine bays, even wheel arches if you like. This is what I'm using here to clean the boot lid water channels. When you're wanting to rinse it away, you can either close the boot lid back over and spray some water through the gaps to allow it to flush the whole area, or turn off the pressure washer and take the nozzle off, giving a gentle flow rinse. You might see a lot of videos where they recommend you brush around window seals, badges, light lenses, gutters, etc. during the SNOWFOAM stage. I prefer to leave it until the car has had a contact wash at least, as the pre-wash stage is designed to remove dirt and grime, and if you're using a brush at this stage, it's defeating the whole safe wash method of cleaning. You saw earlier how much debris was coming from the window seals and the rain gutters just when I was rinsing. So now's the right time to get in with a soft detailing brush, not a feather brush either. You want something with a bit of purchase about it, yet soft tipped so it won't scratch the paint. Usually a boar hair or a soft tipped synthetic fibre brush will do the job. I'll put all the links to everything I'm using in the video below for you to check out. You can see how important this job is if you've never done it or have left it a while. It doesn't need doing every wash, but around maybe 2 to 3 months is advised to keep that green algae away. Decontamination is going that little bit further than just cleaning your car and takes us more into the detailing side. If you're going to wax, seal or ceramic coat your car, it's always best to decontaminate your paint before applying any protection on your car, and this is done by means of chemical or manual decontamination, or both. If you feel your paint after washing your car and it feels just that little bit rough to touch, like sandpaper, then the paint itself has become contaminated with microscopic iron particles. This can be brake dust, iron particles from a railway track, or airborne particles from a factory nearby. Iron particles have got a microscopic outer edge that's quite jagged and uneven, iron also oxidises, and that creates iron oxide particles that have an even more jagged outside. These particles with their rough edges can get stuck to any surface really easily. The surface of paintwork, for example, is not completely flat when you look through a microscope, and these microscopic hills and valleys can be the place where these particles get stuck. When iron oxidises, the surface expands a bit, which might cause them to get really stuck in there. Removing them will not only deep clean your paintwork, but will also minimise the risk of swirls in the paint in the future. When you apply a glaze or a wax or any other product that needs to be rubbed in, you need the surface to be perfectly clean, not only because of the risk of swirls, but also because most products will not properly bond on a dirty surface. Removing that fallout is just simply part of that decontamination process. So we use a fallout remover like this one from AChem called Purge. These products can stink a bit, so if you're going to be using it on a windy day, be prepared for any family members telling you stink and you need a shower, or passers-by to think you might have a drainage problem and offer you a phone number to help. But seriously, the smell is the active chemical, and thankfully the AChem Purge doesn't actually smell too bad, but I think my trigger here is over-atomising the product, as it's usually a clear syrup-like liquid and not foamy on application, but you do need a lot of it to properly decontaminate a full car. Once applied, you're looking for a red dye tracing the fallout spots. This is pretty much your only indication that the product has found some of this contamination. This bleeding, as it's called, is the acidic reaction trying to remove the oxidisation from the iron particle to release it. It is not dissolving iron, as some over-eager detailers might tell you. This step might take several applications to completely remove all of the embedded contamination, but after each application it's important to thoroughly rinse the car from top to bottom to remove the product. You should see the fallout remover foam up as you rinse. I believe this is a help to allow any of the sharp contaminants to be safely carried away without scratching the surface of the paint, but more likely it's simply cleansing surfactants or a foaming agent to give an indication of when the product has been completely removed. The next stage of contamination removal is a clay bar. In this case I'm using the synthetic clay block from Angel Wax. It's quicker than using clay, and that's exactly what I need right now as the light is fading and I still have the final protection to apply. So I've chosen to SNOWFOAM the car again with what was left made up of the 1 litre bottle that I made up for the pre-wash. Now this isn't ideal as our SNOWFOAM doesn't really contain as much lubrication as a dedicated clay bar lubricant would provide, but I'm not using regular clay. So as long as I have a wet barrier for the synthetic clay, it'll work just fine. The SNOWFOAM also provides a chemical neutralisation from any fallout remover that might be hiding in the gutters, window recesses, door shuts. Basically anywhere where water can drain to. Fallout remover can and does find its way into these areas that you never thought possible, so the SNOWFOAM helps remove any lingering residues. We're nearly at the end of the process now, with the 3-stage of decontamination being completed with the tar removal off camera, as time is really getting away from me. Fallout remover and the synthetic clay block leaves the car as clean as it's going to get without a polish. So as I have around half an hour of daylight left, I'm going to apply a ceramic SNOWFOAM sealant. And that foam sealant's from a company called Constellation Chemicals, a small UK family-run boutique brand that develops, tests and manufactures their own products in-house. I've just ordered a few products from them to try out on the channel, so this will be a quick sneak peek into one of them at least. Aquarius SNOWFOAM Sealant is the name of the product, and it's diluted at a 1:9 ratio. The amount that you'll need will depend entirely on your SNOWFOAM lands, as I'm about to find out that the cheap plastic one I got off Temu for using land supplied sealants has quite a thirst. Some of these products have a dwell time and others don't, so check the instructions to see what you're meant to do with it. This one says it has a couple of minutes dwell time, and you can actually see it, I call it developing, on the car as it starts to repel itself. And the best part is the removal, which is best with a pressure rinse and not a garden hose. As you'll see, there's like a film underneath the foam that you need to get off, or you could get some streaking issues. So that's the transformation complete. Just before I show you the final shots of the day, I'll just give you a quick recap of the detail. The wheel test between the acid wheel cleaner and the alkaline. The AChem Cleanse alkaline wheel cleaner was on the left and the Autobead acid wheel cleaner was on the right. I misread the instructions thinking it would be as strong as KKD Devil's Juice, which I normally use, but it's no longer available. But these were the instructions. Shake bottle well. We recommend a dilution of 1 to 3 for heavy residue, and I didn't read apply neat. So apologies for that inaccuracy, and I'll get back to testing Autobead again in a future video. After wheels, tyres and arches were clean, it was on with the TFR diluted at 30 to 1, topped with AChem pH neutral SNOWFOAM to extend the dwell time, 2 bucket contact wash with AChem pH neutral concentrated car shampoo, follet remover, tar remover off camera, synthetic clay bar, rinsed, then Constellation Chemical ceramic SNOWFOAM was applied, left to dwell and rinsed. Not to mention all the brushwork and hidden door shuts and gutters etc. To finally end up after 6 hours of deep cleaning, results like these. Thank you so much for watching to the end of this long player video. If you want to take a look at any of the products for yourself, I'll put links to everything I've used in the video as well as my recommended products and accessories in the description box below. You could also consider subscribing if you'd like to see more videos like this from GM Details. It's much appreciated. As I said at the start, the products were a competition win and the first time that I've used them, and I wasn't at all disappointed. My good friend Mark from Sparkling Autos has been using the brand for years, and it will certainly not be the last time you see these products on this channel either. So see you on the next one, guys. Cheery bye.